In May of 1972, Elton John released his fifth proper studio album, Honky Chateau, and from it, the delectable yet grim I Think I'm Going to Kill Myself. Okay, we've got that saloon barroom type feel, early 20th century. That figured on a lot of his output from this time period. But just taking the jolliness of this track, and you already know the title. This race is a waste of time. It's almost like he's trying to give like a lighthearted comedic, put a comedic effect to a grim topic. But then again, it's kind of tongue in cheek at the same time. It's not really meant to be taken literally. People rushing everywhere, swarming around like flies. That kind of like ragtime, like dun dun. Well, ragtime piano with that kind of like oompa, like 2/4 feel. Think goodbye of 44. Give them all a surprise. I'm thinking this music has me thinking. Remember that chain Farrell's, this like ice cream parlor chain that it was like a family place back in the 70s. Yeah, I used to be taken there as a child. And it was like full of like Victorian through 1920s era like photos and interior. Yeah, I think they had like a saloon piano in there or something, or places, restaurants and chains that used that early 20th century type theme. This kind of music just fits in perfectly. Think I'm gonna tell myself, cause a little suicide. Even if this particular song isn't something you'd want to play around little kids. Stick around for a couple of days. What a scandal if I die. Yeah, I'm gonna tell myself. Get a little headline news. I like. Okay, he's talking about the notoriety that might come from a suicide. Funny enough, this is not the only song from the 1970s that dealt with the topic of suicide with kind of that presented the topic in a somewhat jolly musical backing. Then again, that could be showing somewhat the manic side of depression. You know, manic being too overly happy and giddy, and and depressed being kind of really morose and grim. Yeah, and that the two extremes kind of often lead to like depressive behavior and I guess suicidal tendencies. See what the people say on the state of teenage blues. Oh, and I love this change in the song right here. Yeah, this change of cadence, this more kind of spectrum harmony, effervescence right here. Oh yeah, okay, let's catch up with the lyrics, even though they're pretty let's see. I'm getting pretty bored being part of mankind. There's not a lot to do no more. This race is a waste of time. People rushing everywhere, swarming around like flies. Think I'll buy a 44, give them all a surprise. That 44 line I never quite caught in passing. Think I'm going to kill myself. Cause a little suicide, stick around for a couple of days, what a scandal if I died. Now I'm really wondering. I think he's using suicide using kill myself as kind of a metaphor for disappearing for a time and making it appear as though he had killed himself, like leaving behind some evidence that he might have offed himself, and then causing a commotion about watching the commotion build and trying to like make what a scandal if I died. So he's not even he's not even playing with the idea or like entertaining the thought of actual suicide, or so it seems. Although in real life, Elton John did attempt suicide. I think it was in the late '60s sometime. He did like, I think it was like the oven uh, thing where, but I don't quite know how that's supposed to work, but it was about a marriage that he didn't have his heart in, but he almost went through with. He didn't really want to, but it's been told in like bios of the artist.
A rift in my family. I can't use the car. I gotta be in by 10 o'clock.
That solo piano, and am I hearing a banjo or just a guitar? Banjo would fit right here, because the banjo was quite common, like as a rhythm instrument back in like the early 20th century, before the guitar took over, like started taking over like in the early 30s. And let's see. No, I'm just seeing Davey on guitar, our usual backup team, but the most Davey Johnson. But the most interesting presence. Oh, maybe I'll introduce that in a bit. Yeah. There's a special guest on this track.
Who do they think they are? Oh, make an exception if you wanna save my life. Bridget Bardo, gotta come.
Bridget Bardo. How would she get name checked in here? Let's see. Gotta catch up with the lyrics. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I didn't read the second part of the chorus. Yeah, I'm going to kill myself, get a little headline news. I'd like to see what the papers say on the state of teenage blues. Yeah, he's not really seriously following through on this, because he wants to be around to read the headlines of this whole scandal that his suicide would cause. Yeah. Okay, second verse. A rift in my family. I can't use the car. I got to be in by 10 o'clock. What do they think they are? So this is kind of more spoken from his teenage pre-fame self, not. And in that case, how would he really be making the news with, it's just a commoner, and maybe the local papers. Maybe he's talking small scale here. Yeah, okay. I'd make an exception if you want to save my life. Bridget Bardot gotta come and see me every night. Now he seems to be talking from more his performer phase, where he's already like, etched out his career in entertainment, and because he's saying, yeah, gotta come and see. He's not necessarily referring to her though as like a love interest, or more just like he wants her adoration. He wants her in the audience. That would be that would really give him a change of heart. Okay. And then it goes back to the chorus.
See me every night. I think I'm gonna kill myself. Cause a little suicide.
The thing I love about these jolly, like musical, early 20th century type musical settings is that they are so easy to incorporate like spiky little angular melodies into them. I mean, these are the kind of songs that really translate well in the most bare bones of settings. I mean, you could play the song on an acoustic guitar and it would be very entertaining right off in just a bare bones setting like that, unaccompanied, because the melody, the angularity of the track would be self-evident, whereas a track that isn't so much the core melody as it is like the layers. Like there aren't many, let's just say there aren't many Steely Dan songs that you could play unaccompanied on acoustic guitar and really put the nuances across. Whereas this there would be enough to where anything else could be filled in, because most people know what ragtime is. Yeah, it has me thinking of a quote from Jerry Rafferty where he was saying that he was surprised that Baker Street became such a hit because it wasn't necessarily a song that he would expect to go over well in a solo acoustic setting. It isn't really his first choice as like a real catchy track. It was more the total sum of all its parts that were put together in the studio that made it a great track. Whereas another track off City to City, Maddie's Rag, could easily carry over in a solo acoustic setting because it's just got this like spiky melody up front that's like the main crux of the track.
Stick around for a couple of days. What a scandal if I die. Yeah, I'm gonna count myself. Get a little headline news.
Okay, and once again, he's talking about the fame or the notoriety that would come from like a suicide stunt. The other songs that come to mind, one song that has a very similar arrangement to this and also talks about suicide is the opening track on the debut album by Death School. The track "What a Way to End It All." Yeah, it's on their 1976 debut album, Second Honeymoon. I did a couple of tracks from that over the summer. Not that particular one, but yeah, and it has like a music hall setting. Even has the banjo that I guess isn't quite present on here, but and let's see another one. Oh, there's a song "Suicide" by. I'll get back to you on that.
See what the papers say on the state of teenage
Department S. Yeah, I was thinking, what was that name again? I didn't want to say Department SS. That could be a really bad slip up there. Department S, yeah. Put out a bit. They put out a song. It wasn't on one of their singles. Yeah, but it goes like suicide, suicide. There's only one way out. Just this kind of jolly. It's probably their most up-tempo song, funny enough. And in the song, the third verse is him speaking from the point of view of an apparition who has already gone through with the act, and so he's no longer physically alive in the real world. But then he sees that all his dreams have now come true. What had been his dreams, or had suddenly come true. It's like his girl wanted to get back with him, and you know, and he's like regretting having committed suicide. That's yeah. Hear that tap dancing? I'm trying to think of how many songs have used tap dancing as part of like a solo, or is basically like the solo feature of a track. It would appear to be the case in the track "The Woman Who Loves You" by Split Enz, except that tap dancing is actually done with spoons, played by Noel Crombie. Yeah, it's off their second album, Second Thoughts. And it's one of the few songs on that album that isn't like a remake of a track from their prior album, their Aussie only first album. Yeah. That tap dancing is done by Legs Larry Smith of the Bonzo Dog Doodad Band.
state of teenage.
Okay, too. I just love the layers of this section. We not only do we have those kind of like soulful harmonies going on right there. We've got some like acoustic plucking. It's coming out of this channel, and those sustained bass notes, and then of course the piano layers coming out of my left speaker here. Yeah, I love that separation in that.
Kill myself. Suicide.
Giving us those trademark yelps of his, the higher registry.
What scandal if I die?
Kind of ad-libbing prior lyrics in the number. Yeah, I think I've covered all the lyrics at this point.
Suicide.
Headline. Oh, that little like ivory glissando. Oh, just continuing playing it out over and over again as they fade out. Yeah, I wonder how long the rough cut of the track was. How many? Yeah, yeah, playing enough to just keep on playing as they would with, and just let the. I love fade outs. I love what you can add at the end of a fade out. Like those little touches, like those dimming moments where just like everything counts, and you might hear like a little fill or a little, that was you might hear a little sound effect or something. You might hear kind of them taking like the vocal melody, altering the vocal melody slightly in a way that you didn't hear. Um, yeah. That was Elton John with I Think I'm Going to Kill Myself from his fifth proper studio album, Honky Chateau, released 19th of May 1972. So about a year and a week before I was born. And yeah, one of his tightest albums, actually, too. It's got a lot going for it. It's got Honky Cat, of course. It's got Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters. Yeah, beautiful ballad. It's got Rocket Man. Oh yeah, one of his most enduring evergreens. It's got Jean-Luc Ponty on the track Amy. Got some really like angular, like abrupt, um, passages in the middle there. Um, oh, and like ballads like Salvation, kind of a soulful kind of gospel number, mellow. Slave, somewhat of a twangy piece there. Um, Oh, and a bit more like lighthearted fun, like Hercules. Yeah, yeah, one of his most rounded releases from the period. Yeah. Aside from Tumbleweed Connection, arguably his strongest front to back album. Yeah. Anyway, Elton John, yeah, a very prolific artist during the 1970s, left us and the through the 80s. As a matter of fact, he's one of the few artists during the 80s to have released an album, I guess, every single year of the decade. Because at some point in the mid 80s, the industry in general kind of slowed to a pace of like an album every other year as opposed to every year. Yeah. Anyway, for more rubies and sapphires from the catalog of Elton John, see the directory of albums by English E artists linked below. Yeah, Elton John artists, solo artists are alphabetized by their first name, and in Elton's case, let's see his performance. Let's just say the performance name of Reginald Dwight is a combination of two people he had played with during the 1960s in the 60s beat combo Bluesology. Saxist Elton Dean, who later joined Soft Machine, and Long John Baldry. Yeah, yeah, his bandmates from and it's amazing. I wonder how many. I wonder how many common Elton John fans have gone and explored the output of Elton Dean just out of curiosity. Some of you ought to if you haven't already. Yeah, if you like experimental like free jazz. If you like to be if you're in for a challenge, yeah, I recommend. Anyway, like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the song that we just heard, the interplay, the layers, the touches, the overall feel, vibe, style of it all, and the lyrics if you have anything to comment on about that. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-troubled Maximalist, signing off.